Okay, great. Alrighty, let's inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale deep. Exhale. And inhale deeply. Hum. Guru Hum. Guru Hum. Guru Alrighty. So welcome again, everyone. My name is Mam Hari Khalsa. A lot of you know me through the monthly forecasts uh, that I do, or maybe other means and methods. And today I'm going to share some information and insight with you about what's called the universal monthly cycle. We have our own birth date and the energies of that date. We also have our own personal time cycles. However, the universal cycle is something like it's the ocean of life, and we're traveling across as a humanity, and it has its own currents, its weather, its energies, its times of season and whatnot. And it can be very beneficial to know the certain elements, so to speak, of the universal cycle, so we can have what's called safe passage. Okay, and we all want safe passage in life. We want the secure and protected path. We want to be able to anticipate certain things, know that, okay, well, this is kind of a intense day. I think I won't do the extra shopping or have that important conversation with someone because things could go awry. And then we also have the more beneficial days. So, in looking at the universal monthly cycle for the month of August of this year, 2026, we got a whole lot of energy going on. And the reason for that, right off the bat, is the presence of the double eights in what's called the five primary positions. And I believe Satkirtan has uh, done a diagram where we're going to, just for the sake of filling out the chart, the diagram is for August 1st. No, I just sort of picked that arbitrarily. So we're looking at a soul number on that day of 1, the mastery number, the month for the moment, for next month is going to be an 8. The gift, because it's 2026, 2 and 6 is 8. The entire year is beneath that, the 10, 2026, and the path number, number off to the far right, is a 10. So we see those double eights right on the surface. And 8 is power, energy, money. And the numbers are expressed and experienced in both the positive and the negative polarity. So in the positive polarity, 8 is fearlessness, but when it goes negative, it's fearful or anxiety. Okay. So we have a little bit of an interesting dichotomy where the gift number and the last 2 digits of the year of birth tends in general to be in the positive polarity. So that's really good. However, since the month of birth, the mastery number is what people are typically struggling or fumbling with a bit, that can lean more into the negative polarity. So we're going to see a lot of power struggles. Okay. We're going to see people, I mean, we're already seeing it, but it's going to intensify even more, believe it or not, particularly in certain geographies. And that kind of drive, or even that lust, for power, and this is my moment. I got to make this happen for me now, and I want the position, I want the energy, I want the opportunity. You can have kind of a bull in a china shop sort of way of maneuvering in the world. Okay, so we're going to be seeing that. But where this it gets tricky, and this is was a big motivating force for me wanting to get this information out to you ahead of the curve, is that not only do we look at the five primary positions, which are important and give us a lot of information, but having those double eights in an advanced calculation called the heart calculation. And that's the diagonal energy running from the gift to the mastery, that diagonal line. So it's those two double eights. Suck here, maybe even draw that diagonal line so people can visually get it. And the heart calculation is pretty much what it sounds like. It's individually, it's kind of a person's heart energy, what they have to offer, their emotional needs, and also what they'd like to receive back in a relationship, any kind of relationship, even friendship, or it could be business, or it could be next door neighbor, whatever. So the energy on the planet with these double eights, so we add to get the heart number. 8 and 8 is 16. 16 reduces down to 7. Okay, 7 represents trust. People will be going through like, who can I trust? Who can I not trust? 7 also represents personal space. People are going to, at times, from the intensity of the waves of energy, and we'll look at some specific days as well in what's called the universal daily cycle to give you a little navigation tune up there. People will just feel need to almost sometimes to just kind of disappear, like, oh, but I can't be available, and I can't deal with this, or I can't deal with this conversation issue now. So as you notice that moving through the time and space, that's like normal. It's not like, oh, does so and so not like me or think I'm not important? They're probably just needing to just get themselves off the radar for a while so they don't feel vulnerable, or so they don't feel like they're going to be disempowered. But linking back to the original statement of the double eights and people pushing for power, going for power, greed, abuse of power, even, okay, we'll be witnessing even more, unfortunately, is because not only do we add to get a number for an advanced calculation, and in this case, the heart calculation, the 8 and the 8 being the 16. 16 is over 11, so we reduce it back down to a number from 1 to 11. So 8 and 8, 16, 1 and 7. 1 and 16 is 7. 7, we look at something called the transformer number, okay, and that is the link or the direct contact to try and keep the final number, the 7, in the positive polarity. We want like a little extra help here. How do I keep this 7 in the positive polarity so I'm not getting paranoid or thinking too much, or distancing myself too much from people, or getting into delusional fantasies and ideas of what could go wrong. So 8 and 8 is 16, but what's 8 minus 8? 0. And 0 as a transformer number is a very powerful number and a very powerful dynamic, because what it means and what we could be individually experiencing or witnessing on the planet is people feeling zeroed out or brought down to nothing in relation to the number 7, as well as the numbers that created the zeroing out, which is the 8s. So what does that mean? Zeroed out, brought down to nothing. That sounds very like abstract, or I don't know, almost even scary. What gets zeroed out is the ego. And nobody likes their ego getting zeroed out. Nobody likes to not get their way or have something fall through that they were, had such high hopes for. I thought this was going to happen. I thought this person was going to ask me out on a date. I thought the weather was going to be good for this vacation. I thought, any number of things. And it's that zeroing out in relation to the number 7, where people are going to be feeling like, God, I thought I could trust this person. And so, I shared this, how we say, like, trust somebody, like, don't share this with anyone. Okay. And you really think you can trust the person. Oh boy, August is not the month to be trusting people with information that could create a vulnerability for you. There's the expression, loose lips sink the ship. And the unfortunate thing is the person may have meant it in the moment, but unfortunately, depending on their sort of, character, integrity, caliber is probably even a better word, they just can't help themselves because they want to seem like the star of the moment, like, oh, I have this juicy little tidbit about so and so. So be careful about sharing information, okay? Also, next month is not a good month because it also brings money and finance, is not a good for speculative investments. Like if someone comes along and say, hey, if you take half your life savings and put it into cryptocurrency by Christmas, you'll be able to buy the town. Oh, forget about it, okay? There's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors next month. Remember that, smoke and mirrors, where people putting up an illusion about things, even kind of like a kind of like trap you like a snare. Okay. Like if you ever seen like in a movie or a TV show or whatever, how they make a snare for the little rabbit on its path, and they put the string or the rope and they hide it under the leaves and the twigs so the poor little rabbit, can't see it, and it's kind of going merrily along, and I'm going to go back to my little rabbit hole and everything's wonderful, and then smack, it hits that snare and it's upside down, and its world is upside down. Okay, so keep your finances stable and secure. Don't do anything speculative, and that will be better. Now, again, there's so much information here. Circling back around to the power struggles and the power plays and people's inappropriateness and power. And again, we're seeing that, or these monthly cycles don't begin and end on the dot of the 30th or the 31st. Oh, it ends, and now this new thing's being. We're kind of very much feeling it already and witnessing it already. So anyway, where I'm going with this is with these power struggles and these power plays and this kind of aggressiveness. A lot of where it's coming from is old grief, because the number 8, when it goes negative, it's the lungs. Okay, and in the Chinese and acupuncture system, the lungs are connected to the emotion of grief and unprocessed grief or unresolved grief. And August, because of some other dynamics in the chart that I'll get to in a little bit, has a connection to ancestral emotional baggage. I'll repeat that: ancestral emotional baggage. And I'll give you a couple examples. Maybe your mother was an alcoholic, okay, and she did her best, but the burden of the pain handed down and how she was treated as a child, and she never got to live her dream. She had, I don't know, 3 or 4 kids or other circumstances, and it was just everything she could do to keep the household together and manage the husband and all these things. And because of that grief, she drank too much. Okay, that could be coming up for you this month, or whoever might have had that particular script and just kind of going, oh God, maybe I need a drink, or maybe I need a pill, or maybe I just need to cry a lot, which is actually a good thing, because that's therapeutic. So just know that it would not be unusual for you personally, regardless of what your ancestral history is or isn't. Some people actually maybe had decent parents or ancestral history, but you're going to be witnessing it. You're going to notice sometimes people acting very out of character, like, boy, he's usually not like this, or she usually just isn't like that, because of this upchuck of this ancestral grief and pain. Okay. Now, there's a way out of this, and we'll get to that, and we'll get to our solutions in a little bit. But we just got to, muck out some of the muck a little bit more here. Um, so that's going to be happening. Okay, so let's go to some of the solutions. So 8, we know, is the lungs, we know it's the pranic body, and we know it's the breath. Oh boy, keep with your exercise program. It doesn't have to be fanatic, and if you can throw in an 11-minute pranayam a day, and you can just pick a pranayam. There's so many on the 3HO website. There's the pranayam uh, uh, manual that has, so many wonderful and very well illustrated pranas. Pick something you like. Pick something you're going to do. Don't set the high bar too high. As we know, Sudarshan Kriya is one of the master Kriyas for the Aquarian age transition, but not everybody likes that meditation. A lot of people, that pranayama, find it too difficult. So don't do something for 31 minutes for 3 days and then nothing the rest of the month. Pick something that is more maintainable for you and within your scope and your measures, so to speak. So that's important to know. Then also, Okay, so the heart number again is 7, and 7 is the water element. Okay, the numbers are connected to the elements, and that's very important. Sorry, I'm just looking for something here, and I just found it. There we go. The numbers are connected to the elements. Okay, so being in water, swimming in water, sweating, which is so powerful. And I talk specifically about that in the July forecast and some things that I do, because we're still in this 7 month. Well, it kind of translates over into next month. of the importance of, and electrolytes are important too. Not a lot of people, and get the good kind, get like the little one serving packets, pay that dollar each or whatever for it so that you're flushing out the toxins. Because when the number 7 goes negative, again, the heart number for August, it's distrustful. Okay, who can I trust? And it's fascinating because in the numerology science, things can be in the positive polarity, things can be in the negative polarity, but there's also something called super positive and super negative. And when 7 goes super negative, it's paranoid. Who's out to get me? What's going to go wrong next? I saw this little Instagram post, and the most ridiculous thing I've seen in the past few weeks is somebody put on Instagram that I can't remember the exact date, but it's some day in August. The planet is going to lose gravity for 15 seconds or something like that, which is ridiculous. That is not going to happen. And it would basically be the end of the world. So why bother anyway? There's nothing you could do about that if all of a sudden, gravity is lost. That's just kind of absurd. So because 7 is also information, watch the information that you let into your mind and watch the information that you let into your heart. Okay. Really, really important. Um, Touching back on the theme of grief and the heart, releasing grief next month, the Bach flower essence. It's nice to have kind of a multifaceted approach to healing. Not everything's breath of fire and yogi tea. Okay, that's important steps and cornerstones. But I like the Bach flower essences because there's no way you could, like if you take the wrong essence, it's just, not going to work on what you need it to work on. It's not going to, you're not going to be hurting anyway. One second. I need to sip a little water here myself. One moment. So the Bach flower essence mustard is good for grief, and I've had episodes in the past going through intense episodes of healing, and I added 1 or 2 drops of the mustard tincture. It comes in little 1 ounce little brown bottle eyedropper tinctures. Sometimes you get them at the health food store. You can get anything on Amazon. And it really did help. It really did just kind of almost like if you have sandpaper and kind of smoothing out the rough edges on the emotional, and just even the fact okay, I'm doing something for myself, and this is easy for me to do for myself. This is soothing in a way. Back to the water element again. Baths, Epsom salt baths are good. Swimming is good. Maybe there's even a local pool, or you can travel to water. Anything with water is soothing. Of course, drinking enough water, the obvious one. And then 7, being the water element, and within the physical body, the water element is the blood and the lymphatic system, again, sweating. And a lot of us as we get older, we don't get out there and get that kind of exercise where we're red in the face, running around, whatever. We don't feel like running 5 miles. I don't blame you. But again, if you sit in a hot, dry sauna, you will sweat like a maniac and you will get those toxins out. And it's totally, totally worth it. So that's really important. Okay, let's see here. So, okay, certain numbers are male energy numbers, and certain numbers are female energy numbers, and others are neutral. So the number 1 and the number 10 are male energy numbers, and the numbers 2 and 9 are female energy numbers. And for some reason, and this is coming through on an intuitive level, the male energy on the planet, the word that comes to mind is going to be thrashing. Okay, it's just really going to be thrashing at times. And this is not, if there's a man in the crowd, I'm not pointing my finger at you. This is a generalization. I'm not talking about every man. I'm not talking about a monk in a Buddhist monastery. There are very good men that have their practice, and they're good husbands and fathers and all of that. But I'm talking about sort of a different spectrum, so to speak, of a different consciousness that is already somewhat off balance and about to go really haywire. So for us as women, as well as the sort of more conscious, balanced men, it's important to have an awareness of where you physically are putting yourself and where you're not putting yourself, and not allowing there to be any risk for you. Okay, It's just, if let's just make up it's 8 o'clock at night and you go, damn it, I didn't get the orange juice for tomorrow morning. And I always like my orange juice for a smoothie, but it's 8 o'clock and it's dark and I don't know. Maybe I should just, it's not such a big deal. I'll go out tomorrow during daylight. Just listen to those little intuitions. There actually is a lot of intuitive as well. There's a counterbalance to all this heaviness, okay? There actually is a very positive aspect of the double nines in the sublayers for the month of August. And those double nines come, and you can just point this out, Sakirtan, come from the asset calculation, which is present all year, of the gift of 8 and the knowledge of 10, the 8 over the 10, as well as what's called the base number. And the base is the month for the month, mastery of 8 and knowledge of 10. So we have double 18s. I'll get to that in a minute. And 18 reduces down to 9. Now, 9 is the most intense number. So again, this is where it gets tricky. When 9 goes negative, it can be absolutely ruthless. And we're seeing a lot of ruthlessness on the planet. We won't get into those details. However, it has a positive polarity and a very high, lofty, and extreme, in a good way, positive polarity, where 9 is a subtle body. It's the most powerful number. And it's the most intuitive number, even in beyond intuition, psychic ability of just to know something and know what I didn't Google it. My neighbor didn't call me. I didn't see a sign, driving down the road. You just know it. And this is why, and we're going to get to the meditation in a little bit, which will help you with this. This is why relating to your own subtle body, having moments where you stop, you slow down, you turn your phone off. If you live with other people, put a note on the door, do not disturb, okay? Healthy boundaries. And sit quietly, close your eyes down, slow the breath down a bit, and ask yourself, what does my subtle body have to say about this? And if you allow yourself not just to rest, but to dwell, that's a different kind of energy, to dwell in the space of your own subtle body, the information can come to you, the right thing to do, okay? And the subtle body is the energy. If you run out your front door every morning and you don't turn your head and you don't see your neighbor next door watering the roses or whatever they're doing, well, then you don't say hello to them and there's no exchange and there's no information. You just zip by that person or that energy that could say, hey, I have these tomatoes from my garden, would you like these nice organic? Like, no, you already zipped off to your car. So in that sense of creating a relationship and a connection to your own subtle body energy, and the subtle body is above time and space, okay? You can know and receive what you need to know and receive through that. That is really powerful stuff. And that's something you want to begin to create that relationship with that sensitivity. And certainly if you have a spiritual practice, you're always closer to be able to access that. But just having again that time out, that moment, okay, the right answer can just, it's almost like if any of you, probably some of you are able, they might still be around, able to remember there's something, it was a novelty toy called a magic 8 ball, and it's like a playing pool, and there's the 8 ball and it's black. And when I was a kid they had it, and you would shake it, you would turn it upside down, there was this dark ink, but you had to wait a moment, and you were supposed to ask it a question, okay, and the answer would come out like yes, no, maybe, ask again later, or whatever. And it's just kind of a fun novelty toy. But anyway, the idea is, and I'm not suggesting you go out and get one of these things, you could if you want to, but really the idea is that magic 8 ball, that magic 9 energy of your own subtle body is available if you just dwell in that softness and that calmness and that serenity. So that's important. Another thing that's going to be happening, we're kind of doing this all the time, but there's a real line of demarcation. Hold on, let me sip a little more water here. 1 second. There's a real line of demarcation. We like to call in the popular language line in the sand next month about relationships, any kind of relationship, relationships that are going to go the distance, or the relationships where you're cutting the cord. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't carry this heavy burden. I've sacrificed enough. I've suffered enough. I'm being taken advantage of. Whatever it is. It could be personal, it could be business, it could be the neighbor that didn't return your blender or the lawnmower. It could be, any number of things. And where this comes from, because nine represents completion. The numbers are multifaceted, and completion is an aspect of the number nine. So with these double nines, there's going to be a lot of completion energy next month, having to do with power issues. And energy, because eight is also energy. Like, I'm losing power here. You're taking my energy. I can't do it this way anymore. And there can be a discussion. I'm not just saying, like, okay, we just throw all these people overboard. And where this is coming from, if we look at that 8/10 and then the base, the 8 and the 10, when we look to the transformer number, when we subtract, 8 from 10 is 2, and the other line, 8 from 10 is 2. 2 is relationships. And 2 is also boundaries. Yogically, we know the number 2 is the negative mind, the ability to say, no, this is not good for me. This is not healthy. I'm going to lose here. Doesn't matter what kind of sparkle and shine and what I call spiritual confetti some other person is throwing up in the air, and I'll pay you back, or I'll do this for you, or I'll be your best friend, or all that kind of stuff. Oh, baby, no way in August. You got to have your negative mind, which is a positive thing, okay, because it's a protection against something going wrong. It's a checkpoint where first you check it, like, okay, what could go wrong here? Then there's the positive mind. Well, what could go right? Is there something positive, in the mix? And then no sequence of thought will be successful till it reaches the number 4, which is the neutral mind, the balance of the two. But the negative mind is front and center for next month. Like, okay, I'm not going to lend the person the money. I'm not going to do the favor, because I realize it's going to throw me off balance, take away my power and energy. It's just not something I can trust. Okay, coming back to that number 7 in the heart, and you could love someone, but that doesn't mean that it's healthy for you to trust them. Oh my God. How many of us have learned that in relationships? Okay. I mean, it's just true. It's sad to say, but it's true. I'm a big fan of YouTube, is probably, if you read my forecast, and I kind of go on a roll sometimes with like certain speakers or certain whatever. I'm always interested in what other people are thinking. I never imagine that I know everything. I know a lot, but I always like to kind of go, okay, what's a different perspective on this? Where someone is educated in a certain way, what do they have to offer? I've been on a real roll lately with Brene Brown, Brene Brown. Fantastically educated woman, very good. She's a very good speaker, and she's very clear. And she's got lots of YouTube video clips on, relationships and, power balance and whatever. I just even enjoy hearing her voice, and things like toxic relationships and whatnot, or healthy boundaries. And I tell you what, that lady, she really hits the nail on the head sometimes. And sometimes it can, we all get talk in our own mind. It's normal, it's natural. Sometimes it can be healthy to introduce a voice and an energy and an intelligence on a specific subject outside your own mind to help create what's called a bridge over troubled water when you're going through something. So you could find her on YouTube. You could maybe listen to a couple of her videos, and you might, I think, likely you'll find something in the mix that will be helpful, for you. Okay. Okay, so this thing with the boundaries, the ability to say no. Now, again, sometimes these things can be worked out in a good conversation. Okay, you could have a heart to heart with someone. They go, you're right. God, I don't even know what I was thinking. And, you haven't given a lot to me, and I can really understand your point of view. And, you maintain the relationship, but also there could be at least one where you're having to, and this doesn't have to be some dramatic thing, where you're just distancing yourself or you're not returning the phone calls, and that in itself is a message, and you're giving yourself space. One of the things that's important, and we can kind of fall into this flaw in the spiritual realms sometimes, is feeling the need to over explain ourselves. You don't need to over explain yourself. You just need to say, I can't do this. This isn't healthy or right for me right now. Whatever the issues or the parameters are, to communicate to somebody, and that's good enough. That's good enough. So that's important to know. Okay, let's see what else we got here. 9 is also the fire element. We're already seeing the fires, all over the place. And so that's going to increase even more. Fire is certainly kind of an emotional energy, but also just in your own world, like your car, make sure there's radiator fluid in it. If you have children, make sure they stay hydrated. Just, check the fire extinguisher in the kitchen. Just these little things, the hoses in the backyard. Is there a good kind of a spigot thing at the end of the hose that it has a powerful spray? If something did catch fire in your area, you could immediately stamp it out. There's the expression, a stitch in time saves 9. Even, buying some garden hosing for your property. Okay, you're going to spend maybe $30, $40, but hey, that's a lot cheaper than, looking for a new house. So just these little things to ensure yourself against the fire energy getting out of hand. This is a really good idea. This just came through intuitively. I didn't even have it on my list. And you can buy it on Amazon, and it's not expensive. It's only about $30 or so. There's a little shipping. There's a company called Prepared Hero. Again, Prepared Hero, and it's a small stovetop fire blanket. It's not like a blanket, but it's like if all of a sudden you were cooking something and oil caught fire on the stovetop, or in a pot or a pan or whatever. You can't put oil fire out with water, but you can have this hanging. They even have this kind of little hanging thing, somewhere close by. You take it out, you put it on top. Your hands are not going to get burned because it's protected by this specially created fire blanket. And they got a whole, you can watch the whole video of the fireman there. I recommend this. Again, Prepared Here. You put it on top of the stove, and it smothers or suffocates the fire. Okay. Or if, heaven forbid, one of your kids is playing with matches and their clothes, get on fire, you grab it, you roll them up in it, you roll them on the ground, and you put the fire out. Again, that's just $30, okay, for the stovetop one. I mean, you could get more extravagant if you want to, but hopefully that's all you would ever need. So things regarding fire at times are going to get a little out of hand next month. Okay, so we're just going to say this potential of out of hand energy or anomalistic kinds of things going on. And, that's just part of the overall energy. It doesn't matter who you talk to. Numerology, astrology, Tradoc decks. I mean, it's just kind of this is just shit show that's happening, okay? And it's just kind of like that for a while. There's still good things happening. Don't forget for a moment that there's still good things happening, but there's this other energy, and it has to do with cleansing and clearing. So we don't want to get caught in the backwash or the fallout, the backdraft is a better word, of this anomalistic energy or someone else's, negative energy or karma or whatever it is. We want an energy and a frequency, and frequency is a good word, a frequency in our life that keeps us elevated, that keeps us, it's kind of like almost like you're in the ocean and you could just be there by yourself. But if you have kind of like a life jacket or like a styrofoam, one of those styrofoam kind of brick things, then your head is higher above the water and you have a further view of the horizon to see what's out there. Okay. And that's a better feeling. And then you know how to maneuver better. So a really good mantra to keep you in sync with the rhythm and the energies of the time and space and the flow and the opportunities, as opposed to the snags or what's called like a bad bounce. We just had Wimbledon, and sometimes the ball hits and it goes funny, and that's called a bad bounce. Those kinds of things, they happen in life. what can help protect you or shift you from that bad bounce kind of energy or weird stuff happening is the Hat Hare Hari Wa He Guru mantra. Now, there's a very specific way to do this. It's not just Had Hare Hari Wa He Guru. No, it's a science because Kundalini Yoga is a science. So it's important to remember on the Hat Hare Hari, the tip of the tongue hits the upper palate, similar to the hammer of a piano striking the key. And it's just a very quick strike. It's not emphasized. It's Had Hare Hari, and then there's the Wa He Guru. Okay. Now it has 6 beats or 6 syllables. On each of the beats, we slightly pull in on the navel point. It's not like a South Korea pull where it's like you're really pulling in, but it's maybe about halfway. It's a rhythmic kind of thing. And the idea is we're creating this rhythm within the flow of our existence and our own psyche and a higher frequency. We just sense things. Our radar is more finely tuned to pick things up on the periphery, and we can tune into our subtle body more quickly, that we can sense something on the far edge before it even, drives down the street or whatever that is. Okay. So we're going to, and we've got a really wonderful recording for it because it's very rhythmic. And, anything that's rhythmic is happy, that rhythm of life, that energy, that pulsation, like I'm feeling it. This is really good. So we're going to chant together for 5 minutes. That'll give us enough of an experience with it. Remember, Had Hare Hari, tip of the tongue hitting, and on all 6 syllables, Had Hare Hari Wahe Guru, navel point pulsing. So Sakirtan, go ahead and please, just sitting, hands in Gyan Mudra, okay? Shoulders are relaxed, chin tucked in slightly, and eyes are closed down. Okay, I'll repeat that. Gyan Mudra, shoulders are relaxed, chin tucked in slightly, eyes closed down. Okay, let's begin. And Sakirtan, you're going to tell me when we're back.
Hare
Okay, inhale deep, hold the breath. Exhale all out. Inhale deep again, hold the breath. Exhale, inhale, shake the hands up. Raise the hands, arms up in the air, shake. Shake them out, shake them out, shake them out. Exhale. Inhale, relax the hands and the arms down. Just have the hands gently resting in the lap. Keep the eyes closed down for a moment. Just meditate within. Feel your connection to the infinite. Feel the cosmic jet stream of the good fortune, the good luck, the opportunities, the ability to rise above through all aspects of time and space. It's always there. Inhale deeply. Exhale and come back. Okay, so we have a powerful technique. We have a little extra help with the Bach flower essences. We have a guidance and awareness for the relationship of our subtle body. We have a renewed sense of self and healthy boundaries. And now I'm going to share a little positive news with you. This month, coming month of August, it requires homework, okay? And it requires spiritual homework to shovel out, to release those deep-seated pockets of negative emotional energy that we discussed. And this is all for a very good purpose, because next month or the following month in September is a breakthrough month of new opportunity and fresh energy on the planet. Now, this is not me saying that every month in September is suddenly going to be Walt Disney World and all the happy little creatures are going to come out, from the forest and greet you. However, there is a clearing, okay, that will allow you to move forward and receive the results and benefits of your efforts on every level more quickly, with less interference or congestion or confusion. Okay, so we want that. Okay, and to everything there is a season. It's not quite apple picking time yet, but September and beyond, we're getting more into apple picking season. Things take their own time to come to fruition, so to speak. So, by doing your homework now in the clearing, and enjoying life, not this is not 24/7. Also, watching inspirational movies next month will help you. People who just kind of maybe went through some difficult things and came out the other side. It's always good. If you read my forecast, I'm a great fan of film because it conveys so much information. I don't know why this is coming. So I wasn't planning to recommend a movie, but I'm going to. Um, and it's a way lesser known movie. I mean, it's out there somewhere. I don't know. I think you can like rent almost anything on Amazon for $3.99. And the name of the movie is called Arctic, Artic. Just one word, Arctic, Arctic. It takes place up around the North Pole. And there's only two people in the movie, which sounds like really boring, but oh my God, if you ever want to see something where someone's going through something so intense, and it's just almost like your life is going to seem like so easy after that. But there's also more to it than that, okay? And it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. So anyway, you can watch that some Sunday or Saturday afternoon. But anyway, back to September. Um, Doing your homework in August, when you get into September, then there is the potential for a really big breakthrough for you because September has a lot of initiative energy to it. And there's four particularly good days for any new startup thing that you want to start. Well, whatever it is, it could be big, it could be small. And those days are the first of the month, the 8th of the month, the 17th of the month, and the 26th of the month. Those are four particularly good days where the winds of fortune are blowing a certain way. And if you can catch that energy, it can more likely take you where you want to go or what you could like want to manifest. You could even start like a 40-day meditation on one of those days. Okay. So that's good to know. So hopefully all of this about August, didn't seem too overwhelming or too heavy. And again, there will be good things happening as well. But the reason it can at moments be a little rough around the edges is because of the intensity of the ancestral pain. So Kirtan, can you put my email address up? And I can also just tell you if somebody's got pet, it's my name, Nam Hari, NAMHARI, and then the number 17, namhari17 at gmail.com. If you send me an email, I can include you in because I do a write up each month, and I've given like some other details, okay, in the write up, and it's free. It's just something that's free. Like I want I want the write up, I want the forecast. Just send that all along. Also, as you probably know, I do individual readings. If you're a part of this, I will give you a special discount on a 30-minute reading where we can cover a good amount of stuff. So if you're interested in that, like I'm interested in your discounted 30-minute reading, include your phone number and we can chat about that at some point for you. But again, coming back to September, there's an element, okay, because of this intense emotional ancestral clearing. And again, it's going to be affecting everybody, but for some reason it's going to be affecting the men more. Okay. So that's where you just have to, you don't need to be in fear. You just need to be in your gentle awareness of things, how you move through the world, timing of communication and whatnot can just, save you from a potential headache, so to speak. So that's pretty much done. If there are any questions, I'll allow, a couple of questions. If not, we'll have a closing prayer. Does anyone have a question, Sakirtan?
There's a question on the dates, the uh, if they're August or September.
September.
Um,
Those four dates are September
so
1, September 8, September 17, September 26. Those are the kind of more lucky, kind of more good fortune dates. Okay.
yeah,
That there's an energy there that you can catch and you can use. It's not to suggest that nothing bad in the world is going to happen at that time because the reality is everything is so speeded up. There's good and there's bad happening all the time. But when you're at a certain altitude, okay, if there is turbulence, okay, if there's turbulence at 20,000 feet and people are getting sick and falling over, if there's a smart pilot, he'll ascend to 30,000 feet, blue skies, smooth sailing. So it's all a matter of where you place yourself, which is why I gave you the Hud Hade Hari Wahe Guru, so you can have that natural attunement of how to flow and how to pace yourself so you're not throwing up and falling over in your life. It's all a matter of consciousness. It's not like these energies are out there to try and get us, but they do wake us up and we go, okay, I got to do something different. If you've ever seen any kind of sports game and a team is losing, the coach will say, I need a new game plan. I've got to direct things differently. I've got to switch it up. I've got to change it up. I've got to change the frequency. Then there can be the success and the winning, even when the team is far behind, because I'm a fan of, certain sports and whatnot. So anyway, we're going to
there's
wrap
one
it
more
up there.
question.
Okay, well, certainly. One more question. What's the
Uh,
question?
if there are also special days for August
Let me see. I had this
or
wonderful
good
big poster
days,
board. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. August. 7, 7 and 7. I have to do this all in my head, so bear with me. 8. Actually, I'm going to write it down. Hold on. Hold on. Get that piece of paper. See if this is it. It's going to be 8, and that's going to be 8. And well, there's better days, okay? But I mean, it's almost like almost at any part in July, there could be some kind of a catch. So, having said that, for August, the 7th, the 16th, and the 25th have a leaning towards a positive and opportunity energy as long as you don't trust the wrong person and as long as you don't create a danger with the water element, because the water element is going to be a little unstable on those days. Okay. So don't go class 4, kayaking down the Colorado River on those days. But if someone invites you to a party and they have this idea or this opportunity and they prove themselves to be trustworthy, it could be. But, the honest answer is sometimes there's more to work with in a certain monthly cycle, and sometimes there isn't. I get the question a lot, like, well, I want to get married, in June of this year. And in certain years, June's a terrible month to get married. Okay, absolutely terrible. And I say, well, it's a terrible month. Can you wait until a different one? No, the plane tickets are already bought. We always have the free will, but the information within the numbers, because it is a science, gives us an extra window of insight to work with the energy to our benefit and favor. And on any given day, there can be positive and negative aspects. So overall, in August, there is this extra challenge, we'll just call it, which can be surmounted. And there are some days that are more favorable than others, but I would make the suggestion to save kind of your big choices or energy investments until September. Okay, that would be my suggestion on that, because um, you don't want to get caught up in somebody else's emotional subconscious drama release. Is just what's going to be going on. Okay, so we're going to chant. Let's please bring the palms together at the heart center. We're going to chant 3 long satnams together, and then I'm going to say a prayer. Okay. Okay. So no, 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 no. O formless in every form, unbound yet bound by the power of love. May God's grace and blessings descend from the heavens, giving us the elevation of spirit, the clarity of vision, the sureness of step on the path ahead, in all lightness and brightness of our soul's journey homeward, with goodwill to all. And may we have peace on this earth. Satnam. Thank you all for being here. We're going to try and make this a steady thing. And by God's grace, we will have visual next time as well. God bless you all. Satnam.